You people always think the rules don't apply to you. The words are venom, but the strike is worse. His hand arcs before she can brace herself, a crack splitting the air. The slap snaps her head sideways, metallic blood flooding her mouth. Riverside Park falls into stunned silence. Mothers clutch their children. Joggers halt mid-stride. Strangers freeze, their eyes wide. A uniformed police chief has just struck a black woman on a park bench. Brenda Lawrence does not rise. She does not shout. She sits in stillness, tasting copper and humiliation, forcing herself to breathe through the stairs. Every eye is on her. He leans closer, his contempt sharp as broken glass. Know your place. But Chief Gerald Hutchinson has no idea who he just hit. No idea that this quiet woman decides the fate of men like him every single day. That a file with his name sits on her desk, complaints, investigations, patterns of abuse. That the woman he's trying to reduce to silence has spent 15 years mastering invisibility, only to wield power like a hidden blade when it matters most. Brenda Lawrence, Superior Court Judge. On the bench, cloaked in black robes, she is authority incarnate. Out here, she's a grandmother in cardigans, reading glasses dangling from a chain, hair silvering at the edges. The kind of woman most would pass without seeing, and that's the point. Power works best when underestimated. She comes to Riverside Park twice a week, to the bench under the oak tree, far enough from the playground for peace, close enough to feel the hum of community. Today, the file in her lap is thin, but heavy enough to tilt the world. Jamal Reed, 19, shot 6 times during a traffic stop 3 weeks ago. No weapon. Witnesses swore his hands were raised. Another young black man buried under the phrase, feared for his life. It isn't her case, yet. But Brenda knows gravity when she feels it. Community anger is rising, spilling past vigils into restless demands. She's been drafting something dangerous, something bold. A civilian review board with subpoena power, independent investigators, authority to recommend termination and even charges. A body strong enough to scare police unions, and scare them she has. Just this week, 3 emails from the Police Benevolent Association dripped into her inbox. One dismissed her as an activist judge. Another warned of unintended consequences. The third, less veiled, a reminder of what happens to reformers in places like Boiling Springs, where threats have grown sharp. Brenda knows impartiality doesn't mean looking away. She learned that lesson the hard way, 16 years ago when her brother Jerome's life was stolen by a traffic stop. 2 cops, a fractured skull, permanent brain damage, $50,000 in silence, no accountability, no justice. 1 officer promoted, 1 retired with honors. Jerome can't speak, can't feed himself, can't remember his own name. And Brenda, 3 years later, took the bench not for revenge, but to ensure the next grieving family wouldn't be bought off with hush money. Her phone buzzes. A text from Amara, her 14-year-old granddaughter. "Grandma, are you still at the park?" Brenda's chest softens. Amara, sharp, thoughtful, carrying a wisdom too heavy for her years. Brenda types back, "Home by 6, love you." She adjusts her glasses, turning back to her draft. Section 4, Disciplinary Procedures. The words must cut like steel, yet survive the grinder of legal challenges. Too strong, and counsel will kill it. Too weak, and it's another hollow committee. That's when she hears it. Footsteps on gravel, rhythmic, steady, a jogger. She doesn't look up until they stop. Gerald Hutchinson, 58, athletic build, sweat darkening a police department t-shirt. A German shepherd at his side, teeth bared, no leash. She's seen him in court, smirking through testimony, defending every by-the-book shooting. "Afternoon?" he says, not friendly. She nods, voice even. "Chief?" The dog lunges forward, barking sharp enough to pierce the air. Hutchinson doesn't call it back. He plants his hands on his hips, eyes narrowing. "Ma'am, you need to move. This is a K-9 training area." Brenda glances around. Empty park. No cones, no officers, no training signs. Just him and the dog. Her voice remains calm. I don't see any posted notices. His jaw tightens. I'm telling you now. The realization lands cold. This isn't about training. Brenda closes the folder deliberately, every motion controlled. She's been black in America long enough to know survival requires choreography. No sudden moves, no sharp tone. Chief Hutchinson, she says steady. This is a public park. I've been here 40 minutes. I've seen no training exercises. He steps closer, dog snarling in sync. I don't need to show you a schedule. Move. Something in his voice tells her compliance won't matter. I'd like to finish my work. 20 minutes. His face darkens, contempt curling into a sneer. You think your robe gives you a pass here? Her pulse quickens. He knows, or suspects. I'm not wearing a robe, she answers evenly. I'm sitting on a public bench. His voice sharpens, rising now. You know what your problem is? People like you. You don't respect authority. You sit here with your papers, thinking you're better than everyone else. There it is. The poison revealed. People like you. Brenda doesn't flinch. Neutral face, calm breath. Chief, I don't want trouble. I don't care what you want. He steps close enough that she smells sweat and arrogance. The dog snaps at the air between them. When I tell you to move, he growls. You move. Behind him, movement catches her eye. Two joggers, slow, watching. A couple with their dog has stopped. An old man near the playground squints their way. Witnesses, good witnesses. Brenda exhales, slow. She slips her hand into her pocket, pulling out her phone. Not quickly, not suddenly. Every motion measured, because she knows one wrong gesture and this bench could turn into a grave. I'm going to record this for my safety. Her voice is calm, professional, the same tone she uses to silence arrogant lawyers in her courtroom. But before she can lift the phone higher, his hand clamps down on her wrist, hard. No, you're not. The grip is crushing. She pulls back, her voice sharper now. You're hurting me. Let go. Instead, he squeezes tighter, the other hand clawing for the phone. She twists, refusing to surrender, and then it happens. The slap. Open palm, fast and brutal, cracking against her face. The sound is sharp enough to turn heads across the park. Her head whips sideways. Pain blooms white-hot. Copper fills her mouth where her teeth cut her lip. She stumbles but refuses to fall. Standing firm, she touches her cheek with trembling fingers, phone still in her grip. Her eyes rise, steady and defiant, locking onto his. You just assaulted me, she says, voice low, deliberate. For a moment, his eyes flicker with panic. He's breathing hard, his chest rising, a man who just realized what he's done. But then his training kicks in, his reflex for lies. You were resisting. I was standing still. You tried to hit me with your phone. I did not. That's not what I saw. He's projecting now, spinning his story toward the gathering crowd. His voice is louder, practiced for command. I asked you to leave a restricted area. She became aggressive. I had to defend myself. Her lips sting, her cheek burns, but she doesn't waste breath arguing. She knows how this works. His badge against her skin, his word against her life. Except, not this time, because over his shoulder she sees the jogger. Phone up, recording. The couple too, camera trained steady. Even the older man by the playground is standing now, bearing witness. Hutchinson doesn't notice. He's too focused on controlling the narrative. I need your identification, he snaps, hand drifting toward his belt. Her answer is ice. No. His head jerks. What? I don't have to show you identification. I haven't committed a crime. You assaulted an officer. We both know I didn't. His jaw tightens, teeth grinding. She holds her ground, her voice as calm as a gavel striking wood. I'm going to leave. I'm going home. And then I'm filing a formal complaint. I suggest you do the same. She picks up her folder with deliberate slowness. Her legs shake, her face throbs, but she doesn't run. She walks past him with the quiet dignity of a woman who has endured worse and survived. "Ma'am, we're not done," he calls after her. But another voice cuts through. The jogger steps forward, phone still recording. "Sir, I saw everything. She didn't touch you." Hutchinson whirls, barking, "This doesn't concern you." "I'm a witness," the man fires back. "It concerns me." Brenda doesn't turn around. She reaches the parking lot, fingers trembling as she unlocks her car. Inside, doors locked, she allows herself to shake. The adrenaline hits now, coursing through her veins, her face throbbing with each heartbeat. Her phone buzzes. Unknown number. A text. "I got it on video. Are you okay?" Hands shaking, she types back. "I'm okay. Please keep that video." 3 dots appear. Then, "Already uploaded to my cloud. Nobody's deleting this." She exhales, staring into the rearview mirror. The swelling is already visible, cheek flushed red, lip cut. For a long moment, she just sits there, then starts the car. As she drives home, one thought pounds louder than the pain. He has no idea who I am. By morning, he will. The video spreads like wildfire. By 5:30 p.m., 40,000 views on Twitter. By 6, TikTok carries it under Asheville PD, views doubling. By 6:30, it crosses 100,000 before moderators start flagging it as misinformation, a tactic the community has seen before in North Carolina. By 7, local news loops it under the caption, "Police Chief involved in altercation at Riverside Park." The footage is shaky but damning. A woman, a park bench, a man in a police shirt, the motion of his hand, the sharp crack, her head snapping sideways. Time-stamped, 4:12 p.m. The comments explode. Some defend him, clinging to missing context. Others demand resignation. Most are stunned at the audacity of a public assault in broad daylight. At 6:15, Brenda sits in her kitchen, frozen peas pressed against her face. Amara hovers, furious. "Grandma, you need to go to the hospital." "I'm fine, baby." "You're not fine. Look at your face." Brenda lowers the bag, catching her reflection in the microwave door. The bruise is deepening into purple, the cut on her lip glaring back. "I'll go tomorrow if it doesn't improve." "Tomorrow isn't good enough," Amara snaps. "Sweetheart," Brenda sighs, weary. "The police are the problem." Her phone won't stop buzzing. Friends, colleagues, even people she hasn't heard from in years. "Are you okay? Did you see the video? Is it true?" She doesn't reply. Not yet. Not when her hands still tremble too much to hold a glass steady. The city manager calls twice. She ignores it. A text follows. "Judge Lawrence, this is Alan Foster. Please call me at your earliest convenience." She sets the phone down. Her granddaughter frowns at her own screen. "Grandma, it has 300,000 views, and it's still going up." At 7:03, Asheville PD releases its statement. Amara reads it aloud, voice shaking with anger. Earlier today, Chief Gerald Hutchinson was conducting a routine K-9 training exercise when he encountered an individual in a restricted area. The individual became verbally aggressive and refused multiple requests to relocate. Chief Hutchinson attempted to de-escalate the situation, but the individual made physical contact with him, forcing him to use a compliance technique to ensure safety. The department will conduct a thorough internal review. The silence after is heavy. "That's not what happened," Amara whispers. "No," Brenda says flatly. "It's not. So they're just lying? They're protecting their own. That's what they do." Amara searches her grandmother's face. "What are you going to do?" Brenda pauses, but inside she knows. She's going to file a complaint, document every bruise, every witness statement, every text. Build a paper trail too thick to bury, and if the department tries, she'll go higher. She knows the system, and she knows how to break its silences. At 7:30, the doorbell rings. Amara peeks through the blinds. Grandma, there's a news van. Channel 9's logo gleams on the curb. A reporter waits outside with a cameraman. Her phone rings again, different number. She answers. Judge Lawrence? This is Maya Rodriguez, Asheville Citizen-Times. I'd like to talk about today's incident. Brenda knows the name. A sharp reporter, one of the few who doesn't flinch at police power. Not tonight, Brenda says carefully. Call me tomorrow. Of course, but if you decide to share, we'll run your side in full. Thank you, Brenda replies. She hangs up, looks at Amara. Pack a bag. We're staying at Aunt Patricia's. Why? Because tomorrow this will be bigger, and I need one more night before that happens. They pack quickly, slipping out the back door, avoiding the cameras waiting out front. Brenda grips the Jamal Reed folder tight before tossing it into her bag. She doesn't know why, except that it feels like the key, the reminder, the anchor. As they drive away, the bruise on her cheek throbs with every heartbeat, but her hands are steady on the wheel now. And her mind, racing though it is, knows one thing with certainty. By tomorrow, the fight begins. By the time Brenda Lawrence pulls into Patricia Hayes' driveway, the video has crossed 500,000 views. Somewhere across town, Chief Gerald Hutchinson sits in his living room, bathrobe loose, coffee cooling in his hand. The earthquake lands at 6:30 a.m. Friday. Asheville Citizen-Times homepage, Maya Rodriguez's byline glowing. Superior Court judge assaulted by Asheville Police Chief. The headline detonates. The article is razor-sharp, unflinching. It names her Judge Brenda Lawrence, presiding judge of Superior Court Criminal Division, District 28. 15 years on the bench, more than 200 felony trials, many involving Hutchinson himself. The same woman whose signature authorized nearly every search warrant, arrest warrant, and detention order that crossed his desk. Maya doesn't editorialize, she doesn't have to. A retired attorney's quote does it for her. If Hutchinson made an arrest in Asheville, Judge Lawrence's name is in that file. By 7 a.m., Associated Press picks it up. By 8, it's trending nationwide. By 9, cable news panels dissect every frame of the slap. Hutchinson reads it at 6:43, coffee cup frozen midair. He reads it again, and again. His hand shakes. His phone finally dials Alan Foster, city manager. 4 rings. Tell me you didn't know? Foster says, voice already hoarse. I didn't know. You slapped a judge, Gerald. A sitting judge. I didn't know who she was. That's not the point. The point is, you assaulted someone in public, and now the whole country is watching. It was a misunderstanding. Foster's laugh is bitter. We've had 14 media calls already. The governor wants a briefing by noon. And Judge Lawrence? She hasn't said a word, which makes her look measured while you look exactly like what the video shows. What do? Hutchinson whispers. Get a lawyer. Pray she wants reform, not revenge. The line goes dead. Online, comments devour him. He's been abusing power for years and finally hit the wrong person. Imagine how many others didn't have video. She signs his warrants. She controls his cases. He ended his own career. One tweet burns itself into the bloodstream of the internet. Karma is a Superior Court judge in a gray cardigan. It racks up 8,000 shares before noon. The hashtag #KnowYourPlace trends by evening. By 10 a.m., the police union issues its defense. A regrettable misunderstanding, acted within authority to maintain public safety. Within an hour, the post is ratioed to death. Authority doesn't justify slapping a woman in a park. By noon, 3 council members demand an independent investigation. By 1 p.m., civil rights groups hint at federal charges. And still, Judge Lawrence remains silent. She sits at Patricia Hayes' kitchen table, legal pad open, coffee cooling. Patricia, her mentor, her compass, leans forward. You know they're waiting for you to speak. I know. What will you say? Brenda sets her pen down, her eyes steady. Nothing. Not yet. Let them sweat. Let the video do the work. Patricia smiles. You've been planning this. I've been a judge long enough to know silence can be more powerful than outrage. Her phone buzzes. A text from Maya. Ready when you are? Brenda types back. Monday. Exclusive. 3 days. Long enough for the fire to grow, for Hutchinson to feel the walls closing in, long enough for the public to understand she's the one person who can hold him accountable. Meanwhile, Maya Rodriguez sharpens her knives. For 18 months she's been following Hutchinson, stacking a file 3 inches thick. Complaints, settlements, whispers shoved into shadows. This, finally, is the case she's been waiting for. Friday afternoon, she makes her first calls. FOIA requests to Buncombe County for every settlement tied to Asheville PD since 2020. A coffee shop meeting with Lieutenant Craig Donovan, Internal Affairs, the rare cop who still believes the badge should mean integrity. He slides a manila envelope across the table. Inside, 14 complaints against Hutchinson, 12 cleared, 2 pending, excessive force, racial profiling, inappropriate conduct. Every review cleared by his own deputy chief. Why show me this? Maya asks. Donovan leans back, eyes heavy. Because I didn't sign up to cover for a man who thinks a badge makes him untouchable. What he did to Judge Lawrence, he's done to others. They just didn't have video. She photographs every page. Monday, her FOIA comes back. $680,000 in settlements over 4 years, 7 tied directly to Hutchinson, all gag-ordered, all taxpayer-funded. Her spreadsheet glows with damning numbers, excessive force, wrongful detention, racial profiling, all swept clean. Tuesday morning, the Citizen-Times publishes again. Asheville paid $680K to settle police complaints under Chief Hutchinson. By Tuesday afternoon, Riverside Park delivers the bombshell. Surveillance footage, 2 cameras, with audio. She watches the exchange in high definition. Hutchinson's voice, sharp, unmistakable. You need to know your place. Seconds later, the slap. She listens again and again. A white chief, a black judge, the weight of centuries condensed into one sentence. That night, Maya's third article drops. Park footage captures Chief Hutchinson telling Judge Lawrence to know your place before assault. The audio clip plays for millions. By dawn, know your place is everywhere. An indictment, a rallying cry, a movement. And through it all, Judge Brenda Lawrence says nothing. Not yet. Witnesses step forward. Jogger Sarah Collins and an on-duty EMT both swear under oath that Judge Brenda Lawrence had been sitting quietly on the park bench when Chief Gerald Hutchinson approached. Unprovoked, aggressive. A married couple, Helen and Tom Richards, provide matching affidavits. A teenager, Kyle Bennett, uploads his cell phone video, metadata intact, verifying the date, time, and location. Each account confirms the same truth. Brenda Lawrence never laid a hand on Hutchinson before he struck her. Maya publishes excerpts Wednesday afternoon. The narrative tightens, damning. By Thursday morning, her office receives an anonymous package. No note, just a stapled printout of an email chain between Hutchinson and city manager Alan Foster sent the evening of the assault. 5:02 p.m. Hutchinson. We have a situation. There was an incident at Riverside Park this afternoon. A woman is claiming I assaulted her. There's a video. 5:09 p.m. Foster. How bad? 5:11 p.m. Hutchinson. It looks worse than it was. She was aggressive. I used minimal force. 5:14 p.m. Foster. Do we know who she is? 5:16 p.m. Hutchinson. No ID. She refused to provide one. 5:23 p.m. Foster. Can we settle this quietly before it gets bigger? 5:28 p.m. Hutchinson. I'm working on it. Might be able to handle it internally. 5:35 p.m. Foster. Keep me updated. We need this contained. 5:38 p.m. Hutchinson. Understood. I'll take care of it. The timestamps are fatal. The emails predate the viral explosion, predate the revelation of who the woman was. They show not shock, not accountability, but intent to cover it up. Maya verifies the headers. They're authentic. Both Hutchinson and Foster refuse comment. Friday morning, she publishes, emails show chief and city manager discussed containing incident hours before video went viral. By afternoon, the district attorney's office announces a grand jury, not an internal review, a grand jury. Criminal charges loom. Still, Judge Lawrence remains silent until Friday evening. Patricia Hayes' living room. Maya sets her recorder down. Brenda sits straight-backed, bruise fading to yellow and green, eyes sharp. Before we start, Brenda says, let's be clear. This isn't about me. This is about a system that lets people in power abuse it without consequence. What happened to me happens to people every day. The only difference is I have a platform, I have resources. Most don't. What do you want to come of this? Maya asks. Accountability, Brenda says simply. Real accountability. Not an internal review that clears him in 6 months. Not a payout to make it disappear. I want the system to work the way it claims to work. And if it doesn't, I want people to see exactly why. The interview runs 40 minutes. No tears, no raised voice, only facts, only fire disguised as calm. Maya knows, even before she hits stop, that this will be the most read piece she's ever written. But power never yields quietly. Saturday morning, the Asheville Police Benevolent Association announces a Monday rally, Stand with Chief Hutchinson. Within 12 hours, 300 RSVP, mostly officers and retirees. The slogans, Back the Blue, Due Process Matters. The online chatter, he's being crucified without trial. Whatever happened to innocent until proven guilty? By Sunday, conservative media seizes it. One cable host suggests Judge Lawrence provoked the confrontation to advance her activist agenda. That night, the police union releases a statement. Chief Hutchinson has served Asheville with distinction for 30 years. The incident at Riverside Park was an unfortunate misunderstanding. We ask everyone to reserve judgment until all facts are known. No mention of the video. No mention of witnesses. No mention of settlements or history. Just a familiar script designed to buy time. Monday morning, the city council convenes in secret. Leaks spill anyway. 3 council members push to suspend Hutchinson immediately. 2 argue that would prejudice the process. 4 wait on the winds of public opinion. At noon, the city releases a sterile line. The council has full confidence in the ongoing process. Brenda reads it, jaw tightening. Full confidence in the process. Translation. We hope this fades. By afternoon, the rally begins. 300 blue shirts and flags outside City Hall. Retired sergeants tell war stories. A union rep thunders about due process. A city councilman running for re-election pledges loyalty to our brave men and women in uniform. No one says Brenda's name, but the implication is loud enough. She's the problem. The cameras roll, and then the danger crosses the line. That evening, Brenda's granddaughter Amara scrolls Twitter. Her breath catches. A thread. Their street name, their house number, a photo of their front door. Comments below are darker than any rally sign. Maybe someone should pay her a visit. Let's see how safe she feels without police protection. Amara's hands shake as she shows her grandmother. Brenda reads every word, her jaw hardening, her silence measured. She screenshots everything, forwards it to Maya and the sheriff's office. Then she sets her phone down. Pack a bag, she says quietly. We're staying with Aunt Patricia again. For how long? Amara whispers. Brenda exhales. I don't know. That night, a car crept past Patricia's house 3 times, its headlights slicing through the blinds. A neighbor called the police, but by the time a cruiser arrived, the vehicle had vanished. Brenda barely slept. The next morning, a letter from the city attorney AS office landed on her desk, a polite but pointed reminder that power never knocks gently. The city expressed concern about conflicts of interest given her cases involving the Asheville Police Department. The subtext was clear: step back or we'll push you out. Brenda read it twice. If she recused herself, it would look like an admission of bias. If she didn't, they'd weaponize it. She called Patricia Hayes. "They're trying to sideline you," Patricia said flatly. "I know," Brenda murmured, "but I'll follow the rules. Recuse from Hutchinson in this incident, not from everything else. They don't get to hollow out my authority." That afternoon, she filed her response. A measured retreat, but not surrender. By Wednesday, the fallout reached Amara. Her school counselor called, hesitant. Parents were whispering about safety, about publicity. "Amara has done nothing wrong," the counselor assured, "but I thought you should know." That evening, Brenda sat across from her granddaughter at Patricia's kitchen table. "If this gets too hard, if you need me to stop, I will. You come first." Amara shook her head, eyes steady. "No. If you stop, it's like those toothless boards. You'll be all talk. You're different. You can actually do something." Brenda's eyes stung. "When did you get so wise?" "I learned from you." The words followed her the next day as she drove east to visit Jerome. Room 118 smelled of disinfectant and resignation. Jerome sat in his wheelchair, blank eyes fixed on the parking lot. 16 years ago, he had been a math teacher, a coach, a man with a booming laugh. One traffic stop ended all of that. A broken taillight, a fractured skull, a lifetime lost to silence. The city wrote a $50,000 check. The officers walked free. Brenda held his limp hand and spoke about gardens, weather, Amara's classes. He didn't respond, but the silence was louder than anything she could bear. When she left, her legs felt like lead. That night, staring at her reflection, the bruises fading but her face older, she finally broke. She cried for Jerome, for Jamal Reed, for every name turned into a payout instead of justice, for the fear etched into Amara's face. But when the tears ran out, something steadied. She remembered Amara's defiance. If you stop, they win. She thought of the grand jury, of Maya's relentless reporting, of strangers who had risked everything to testify. She couldn't stop. Not now, not ever. By Friday, the city felt it too. At Riverside Park, a vigil rose not from politicians but from ordinary people. A librarian, a teacher, a retired postal worker. 800 candles flickered in the dusk. Signs read, "Stand with Judge Lawrence. Stand against police violence." Watching the live stream, Brenda's breath caught. Amara whispered, "Grandma, look how many came." Brenda couldn't speak. At the mic, EMT Sarah Collins broke the silence. Her voice trembled, then strengthened. "I saw what happened that day. A man in power decided a woman didn't deserve respect." She sat peacefully. "He chose violence. Judge Lawrence showed courage. That shouldn't be revolutionary, but it is." The crowd roared, applause rolling like thunder. For the first time in weeks, Brenda felt less alone. This wasn't just her fight anymore. It was theirs. Each speaker at the vigil told their truth. A young mother admitted the video made her afraid for her son's future. A retired soldier said it made him ashamed of the uniform he once wore. One by one, voices cracked, voices steadied, and the night became a chorus of defiance. By Saturday morning, donations to a hastily launched GoFundMe topped $85,000, earmarked not for Brenda, but for other victims in Asheville who never had her platform. Victims who had been silenced with checks and court gags, who had walked away without justice. Momentum built. The ACLU of North Carolina announced it would provide legal support to Judge Lawrence if she chose to file a civil rights lawsuit. They cited their role in the 2025 Boiling Springs Chief probe, promising pro bono representation for her and for any others who came forward. Hours later, 12 retired judges signed an open letter in the Citizen Times. "We have known Judge Brenda Lawrence for years. Her integrity is beyond question. Her commitment to justice is unwavering. The attempt to discredit her is both transparent and shameful. Any suggestion she should step back from her judicial duties entirely is an attack not just on her, but on the independence of the judiciary itself. Two signatories were former North Carolina Supreme Court justices, men who had once presided over indictments of law enforcement officers. Their names gave the letter weight that could not be dismissed. On Sunday, Maya struck again, her second exposé. Chief Hutchinson, a pattern of violence. Across 3 decades. Was exhaustive. 2,300 words, each sharper than the last. It detailed every complaint, every settlement, every ignored witness. 5 victims spoke on record. 4 were black men, 1 a homeless veteran. Their stories aligned in painful symmetry. Excessive force, retaliation, dismissal. The piece went viral faster than the first, ripping through timelines, shattering the union's narrative. By Sunday evening, the district attorney's office could no longer wait. A statement landed. A grand jury would convene Monday morning. For the first time since the assault, Brenda allowed herself to hope. Not because of the bruise on her face, not because of one video, but because so many had refused to look away. Witnesses spoke. A reporter refused silence. Ordinary citizens lit candles instead of shrugging. That night, Brenda slept deeply, as if the city itself had carried part of the weight from her shoulders. Monday, May 27th. 72 hours since the park. At 9 a.m., 12 citizens gathered behind closed doors at the Buncombe County Courthouse. No cameras, no crowd, just evidence. Brenda was not present. She had recused herself. But her fingerprints were everywhere. She had signed an order appointing as special prosecutor, a retired federal attorney from Charlotte with no ties to Asheville and a reputation for ferocity. She had requested that a visiting judge preside. Judge Patricia Hayes, her mentor, a woman who had seen corruption and wasn't afraid to name it. For 6 hours, jurors heard it all. EMT Sarah Collins, Helen and Tom Richards, teenager Kyle Bennett, the park manager, Lieutenant Donovan, walking them through Hutchinson's complaint history, the full surveillance audio, the email chain between Hutchinson and Foster. 9 settlements, $680,000, 7 tied to Hutchinson's name. The prosecutor didn't editorialize. She didn't need to. At 3 across, the jurors stepped out. At 4:30, they returned with a decision. True bill indictment. 2 counts, assault on a government official and obstruction of justice. Felonies. The charges echoed prior convictions in state history, a precedent that made the room hum with consequence. News leaked before the ink dried. By 6:15 p.m., deputies, not Asheville police, arrested Chief Hutchinson at his home. He looked aged, gaunt, in the booking photo. Bail was set at $50,000, posted within hours. Conditions: no passport, no contact with witnesses, no leaving Buncombe County. At 8:30, the Asheville Police Department announced his unpaid suspension. By 9:30, the union released their defiant but hollow rebuttal. Neither could obscure the truth. A grand jury had spoken. Brenda heard the news at Patricia's kitchen table. Amara sat across from her, wide-eyed. "What happened?" "They charged him," Brenda said softly. 2 felonies. He's going to trial." "That's good, right?" Brenda nodded, slow and deliberate. The testimony begins like a hammer strike. Officer Collins takes the stand, voice steady, eyes fixed. "I saw him grab her wrist. I saw him strike her across the face. There was no physical threat from Judge Lawrence." The defense circles him like vultures, probing for weakness. Collins doesn't flinch. "I was 30 feet away, clear line of sight." The bruising matched blunt force trauma. His certainty lands heavy in the room. Next comes Kyle Bennett, the teenager who filmed the video. His hands shake, but his voice holds. The defense tries its tired angle. Context is missing. Kyle stares right at Hutchinson's attorney. It shows a police chief hitting someone. That's the context. The jury feels it. Excessive force, racial profiling, intimidation, 7 years of patterns buried under protection. This slap wasn't an accident. It was part of a legacy. The defense erupts, but Judge Hayes cuts them down. Donovan's off-record notes are entered as sworn evidence. Then comes the knockout blow, the park's surveillance audio crisp as daylight. Hutchinson's voice snarls. "People like you don't respect authority. You need to know your place." Silence engulfs the room. And as if that weren't enough, the prosecutor unveils an email chain. Hutchinson and Foster discussing containment long before they even realized Brenda was a judge. The pattern becomes undeniable. When the state rests, the weight of evidence is crushing. The defense sputters. A misunderstanding, a split-second decision, the judge wasn't in uniform. Judge Hayes listens, unmoved. 5 minutes later, her gavel falls. Probable cause exists. A trial is set within 60 days. Hutchinson, jaw tight, refuses comment as cameras swarm. The next day, reality bites. Hutchinson resigns, 30 years reduced to a hollow letter. No apology, no admission. City Council votes 7-2 to approve the Civilian Oversight Board. Brenda's draft survives intact. Subpoena power, independent investigators, authority to recommend charges. This time, the law bends in the right direction. She signs it into being, making oversight real. The first case on the docket, Jamal Reed. That night, Brenda sits with Amara at Patricia's table. The air is quiet. Amara asks, "Grandma, did we win?" Brenda doesn't answer quickly. Hutchinson is gone. The board is real. But Jerome is still locked away. Jamal Reed is still dead. She sighs. That's the first win. The second? Next time, maybe it won't take a video. Maybe the system will work before someone gets hurt. Amara tilts her head. You think it will? Brenda meets her granddaughter's eyes. I think we made it possible. Outside, children's laughter drifts on the summer air, cars hum past. Life keeps moving. Tomorrow, Brenda will return to her courtroom, not to revenge, not to closure, but to the work of bending power toward justice. If this story made you question who holds power and who dares to hold them accountable, leave a comment. Subscribe to Fate Tales. If you believe no one should stand above the law, and share your own moment of courage below. Because sometimes resistance doesn't wear a badge. Sometimes it just wears a gray cardigan and refuses to move.